Charlie Kirk has been shot at an event.
Governor after a suspect accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA and a prominent conservative activist, was fatally shot on September 10, 2025. While speaking at Utah Valley University, UVU, in Orem, Utah. This event took place during his American Comeback Tour at a campus event called Prove Me Wrong. The shooting has raised many questions. Where and how did it happen? Who is the suspect? What evidence has emerged? What motive might exist? And what the fallout has been? Who Charlie Kirk was and the event setting. Charlie Kirk, age 31, was a conservative commentator and activist who co-founded Turning Point USA. His work involved campus activism, political commentary, youth outreach, and public speaking.
He goes up to the woman who had a career in selling herself for sex and said, "Sin no more."
The event was part of his American Comeback Tour, specifically at Utah Valley University. The program included a Prove Me Wrong segment where students could ask challenging questions. It was outdoors, under a tent, with around 3,000 people in attendance. Timeline of events before the shooting. The suspect, later identified as 22-year-old Tyler James Robinson, arrived at the campus at approximately 11:52 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time.
Messaged his roommate on the widely popular online platform Discord, asking him to retrieve the weapon used in the shooting.
He moved through stairwells towards a rooftop of the Losey Center building. Surveillance images later show him accessing the rooftop. Physical evidence, shoe impressions, forearm imprint, palm print, was collected from that rooftop. During the event and the shooting, the event began at approximately 12 p.m. About 20 minutes into his speech, around 12:20 to 12:23 p.m., Charlie Kirk was speaking when a question about gun violence/mass shootings was asked. Kirk responded, and during that exchange, a single bullet struck him in the neck. The shot came from a rooftop of the Losey Center, originally reported as about 200 yards away, later revised in some reports to about 142 yards. Immediately after the shot, chaos ensued.
Yes. The question is what kind of watershed? And that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history?
The crowd panicked, people sought cover or fled. Security and emergency services responded. Kirk was transported to Timpanogos Regional Hospital in Orem. He underwent emergency surgery. Charlie Kirk was pronounced dead later that afternoon. Investigation and suspect, identification and capture. The suspect was identified as Tyler James Robinson, a 22-year-old man from Utah. He was arrested about 33 hours after the shooting. Authorities say Robinson acted alone.
In the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images.
He was allegedly turned in by his father after a confession or implication to a family member who then alerted authorities. Evidence collected. The weapon, a high-powered bolt-action rifle, was recovered in nearby woods. Bullet casings, both spent and live, were found. Some engraved with politically charged messages, anti-fascist slogans, references to songs like Bella Ciao and internet memes. Some early reports claimed transgender references, but those are being treated more cautiously by investigators. Forensic traces, shoe prints, palm and forearm imprints at the rooftop location.
In the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images.
Legal status and charges. Robinson has been held without bail. He faces multiple felony charges, including aggravated murder and firearm discharge. Some charges could lead to life imprisonment or even capital punishment, depending on the state's laws.
The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger.
FBI, Utah Department of Public Safety, and others are involved. Reactions and aftermath. Public figures and political leaders. The shocking news of Charlie Kirk's death sent ripples across the nation, drawing immediate and strong condemnation from political figures on both sides of the aisle.
Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox was among the first to react, labeling the incident a political assassination and underscoring the critical need for a return to civility in public discourse. His statement reflected a widespread concern about the escalating rhetoric and its potential real-world consequences. President Donald Trump also weighed in, describing the murder as heinous and paying tribute to Kirk's contributions. Trump emphasized that such acts of violence are unacceptable and must not be tolerated in a democratic society. This sentiment was echoed by numerous other leaders, who universally condemned the shooting and called for a thorough investigation. The tragedy has ignited a renewed debate about the state of political discourse and the urgent imperative for leaders and citizens alike to foster an environment of respect and mutual understanding, even amidst disagreements. Family, organization, and community Kirk is survived by his wife, Erica, and their 2 children. Turning Point USA has said that the organization will continue its events. Erica Kirk spoke publicly, calling her husband's death a martyrdom and promising that his mission will endure. Broader public reaction. The recent incident has ignited a fervent debate across the United States, touching upon critical issues such as political violence, the boundaries of free speech, and the efficacy of campus security measures. It serves as a stark illustration of the increasingly polarized public discourse prevalent in the nation. In the wake of the event, an outpouring of memorials, vigils, and extensive media coverage has followed. Both critics and supporters of Charlie Kirk are united in their demand for thorough investigations into the circumstances that culminated in this moment. The incident has not only brought to the forefront the fragility of public safety in politically charged environments, but also underscored the deep divisions that characterize contemporary American society. Discussions are now centered on understanding the root causes of such extremism and finding pathways towards more constructive engagement in political dialogue rather than resorting to confrontation. This event is prompting a wider societal reflection on how to foster environments where diverse opinions can be expressed without fear, and how to de-escalate tensions in an increasingly fractured landscape. Implications and lessons. Security at public political events, especially on campuses, may need review. Rooftop access, perimeter safety, surveillance, crowd control, all under scrutiny. The role of rhetoric and political polarization. How public discourse can escalate. How ideologically driven divisiveness can have deadly consequences. Free speech versus safety. How to balance allowing open debate and protecting speakers and audience from harm. The importance of early detection, if possible, of violent intent. Digital behavior, threats, changes in behavior. What we know now is tragic and clear in many respects. Charlie Kirk was fatally shot during a public event at Utah Valley University. A suspect, Tyler James Robinson, has been arrested. Physical, digital, and forensic evidence are pointing toward a planned act, though the full motive remains under investigation. The event has shaken the political world, sparking urgent calls for calm, reflection, better security, and more civil public discourse. Many questions remain about motive, planning, and whether such tragedies can be prevented. But what is undeniable is the weight of this moment. It has become more than a single violent act. It is a flashpoint in debates over political violence, free speech, and how divided the U.S. has become. What happened to Charlie Kirk isn't just about one man. It's about public safety, the fraying norms of debate, and what consequences follow when words become seeds of violence.